Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and yeah, we're still having some technical difficulties. In fact, just to give you a quick update on the technical difficulties, the difficulties involve the internet. The internet has not been working very well. It's just been super slow, and it's actually been really a pain to do much of anything. I've actually taken my cell phone off the network. I've been using my data the whole time. And what's interesting about this is that even though I can still record things on my cell phone and do my graphics and everything, I depend on cloud storage to move the files to the proper devices so that they can be edited together. With the internet being down, you can't do that on one end or the other. So that is why we're getting just plain screenshots on the screen when I read the news stories. And it got bad enough, and Time Warner, who I have internet with, has not been very receptive to fixing it. Thus, I am switching internet providers on Monday. So hopefully after Monday, or the 2nd, whenever the 2nd is, yeah. Hopefully then things will be back to normal. But until then, we do have an update. The judge in the TfL versus Uber case has made a ruling, and as suspected, they have overturned the Uber ban. That I predicted. I also predicted that there would be strings attached and it would be a shorter lease. What I did not predict is that the lease wouldn't be nearly as short as I thought it would be, and the strings aren't as severe as I thought, although there's one that will be interesting. So let's look at the article. According to the article, Uber can continue operating in London after a judge overturned a ban in the UK capital on Tuesday. Uber was granted a 15-month lease with some broad conditions. The ride-hailing firm will have to provide regulators with the result of an independent review into procedure and safety every 6 months. It will also have to update UK regulators about any relevant changes to company policy or governance. The regulatory agency Transport for London, the TfL, accused Uber last year of showing, quote, a lack of corporate responsibility in relation to public safety and security, and failed to renew a license that would allow the US ride-hailing service to operate in London. Uber had been allowed to continue its business in London while it appealed last October's ban. At the end of a 2-day hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court, Judge Emma Arbuthnot ruled Tuesday that Uber could operate in one of its most important cities. A shorter 15-month license would allow Uber and the regulatory agency to, quote, test out the new arrangement, Arbuthnot said after the ruling. That is a very complicated name, I'm sorry. London is one of Uber's most crucial markets. More than 3.6 million people in London regularly use the Uber app, and around 45,000 drivers use the service. Quote, we are pleased with today's decisions. We will continue to work with TfL to address their concerns and earn their trust while providing the best possible service for our customers, Tom Elveridge, general manager of Uber in the UK, said in a statement. Through the hearing, Uber was accepting of its past mistakes. The ride-hailing app's lawyer said that TfL's 2017 ruling pushed the company to make changes. And I'm just going to pause for a second. There's that word. It pushed. Like, Uber couldn't actually volunteer to do the right thing. They had to be pushed into doing it with regulation. And those are not comments that are very comforting when they're saying they don't want to be regulated because they've got this. Okay, these including reporting serious... Okay, so anyway, here's some of the changes that they have to make. The changes include they have to report serious incidents to the police rather than leaving it up to riders and drivers to do so. In January, it introduced a mandatory 6-hour safety break for drivers after 10 hours of work. The judge ruled Tuesday that Uber must provide training for drivers, and this is the interesting part, guys, because providing training for drivers complicates the company's stance that drivers are contract workers and not employees. Uber will have 48 hours to report and deal with safety complaints about its drivers, and it will have to notify authorities whether a driver is being kicked off the platform. In the decision, The judge praised Uber's efforts to change corporate culture, noting CEO Dara K met with directors for the TfL in October of 2017 and apologized for past corporate behavior, which included trying to cover up a data breach in 2016. And this actually highlights exactly how important Dara is to the company, because Dara has been very effective at changing the perception of Uber, even if the company themselves have not changed. At least they haven't changed for drivers or anyone who really uses the service. For people who use the service, it's the same service. For people who drive for Uber, we're still getting treated terribly. But the perception of Uber is being changed drastically by the new CEO. This is why your personal driver said he believes Dara is a great CEO because he's good at changing the perception of the company around. And there's a lot of truth to that. Now, again, this does not surprise me. I fully expected the ban to be overturned, especially since it's too ingrained in everyone's lives. I don't even think the TfL wanted Uber out necessarily. They just really hated the company, and this was the way to do it. So, what's this leave for the future? Well, 15 months is a lot longer than I expected. I thought they would do 3 to 5, more realistically, maybe 8. 15 months is 3 months shy of the 18 months they were asking for. I don't think that's much of a shorter, lease, and that gives Uber well over a year to continue to screw with people, and they will. Reporting every 6 months, you know what? I would like more frequent checkups. The most interesting thing, though, and the judge may have actually doomed Uber's business model by doing this, they have to provide trainings for the drivers. Once you start doing that, you're not an independent contractor, you're an employee. And there are already lawsuits in England, all around the European countries, that sit where drivers are claiming that they are employees. And the fact that the judge now effectively said Uber has to treat them as such is going to strengthen that case much, much better. So this is an interesting ruling. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in there Uber's like, yeah, we get to stay in London, but our business model just got gutted. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see where this heads. I've kind of long since given up making predictions on how that's gonna turn out. Either way, Uber's still on thin ice. Maybe more so in London than they are over in the States. Again, I think that ruling that they have to train the drivers, like they actually have to give them training, and they have to report drivers to the police themselves, that's going to suggest very, very strongly an employee relationship with the drivers. And once it starts suggesting that even more, it's going to be even harder to make the case that they're not once the other lawsuits start revving up and getting to the final stages of debate. So, yeah, very mixed blessing for Uber, all in all, I would say. Now I pass the question off to you guys. What do you think of this ruling? Do you think it was a fair ruling? Do you think it was a bad ruling? Do you think it was a good ruling? What do you think Uber's future in London is? What do you think about the fact they have to train the drivers? Do you think that's going to change anything? I would love to know. So, you know the drill. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly, and thank you once again for putting up with the technical limitations of these last few episodes. I know my videos are not exactly of great quality, but they function, and it pains me that they aren't functioning as well as they could be now. So, anyway, we will be back on track soon. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.